Be with your failures. They're just as educational and just as opening to the process as the successes.
It's so funny how noisy my brain is, and everyone's brain is noisy. It's what it does. It makes thoughts. And the problem is, I think in most of our lives, the root of suffering is following that brain noise and listening to that brain noise and actually identifying with it as if it's who you are. That's just the noise your brain makes, you know, and more often than not, it probably doesn't have much to say. It's going to help you.
There's a great quote I read, you need the boat to cross the river, but once you cross the river, you don't need the boat. So I needed my, confusion and my ego and my struggle to wake me up to the fact that I don't need it.
Now I've never been a one to play it safe. I might play a little dirty someday, and I'm following fate. They say I'm the chosen one. I know what it takes to be a king, and be the song everybody wanna sing, and bring harmony, and be the chosen one.
What do you do or practice in order to continue your growth? It's a good question. I think the key word there is practice. I try to look at it as practice. My biggest struggle in my early 20s was believing I understood a concept or a certain philosophy that I subscribed to, but then consistently not living that way and not executing those beliefs and struggling and being depressed or disappointed in life. And that's I knew better, but I wasn't living that way, and that's really frustrating. And the problem is that's all just ego. That's ego sneaking in the back door. That's you kind of, the part of your brain that thinks about the story of Chris wants to see that story in a certain light, but that's just ego. That's not real either. So for me, it's a matter of being perfectly okay, exactly where I am, and practicing. It's like if I was going to try and pick up a sport, I'm not going to be amazing tomorrow. Today, I just have to dribble. Just got to dribble the ball. And if the ball gets away from me today, it's okay. Get it back and just dribble again. Even if it takes all of my focus and energy just to dribble this ball, maybe tomorrow it won't. And it won't be as consuming. But it's okay to be where I am. I don't have to wake up tomorrow and be a pro. And I think that mentality has gone a long way for me in terms of just surrendering to the moment, surrendering to where I am, and surrendering even to my failures. Your failures are okay too. I used to really be very hard on myself if I thought I wasn't accomplishing something or reaching a certain level. But be with your failures. They're just as educational and just as opening to the process as the successes. And eventually, I would hope, the notion of success and failure will begin to dilute as well. Just practice. What thought process gets you through the ups and downs associated with life? What thought process? For me, it's trying to stay present. I think Lindsay, as you know, Lindsay and I met when I was 17, and we both had a very similar spiritual belief system, and mine was a little more rooted in a little bit more of a noisy brain. I had certain beliefs and desires, and I wanted to be a certain type of person, but a lot of my thoughts were kind of rooted in the ego. And when I say the ego, I don't necessarily mean arrogance. I just mean the part of your brain that says I. It's the thinker, and that part of your brain is very self-serving, and it's very it lives in a world of comparisons and time, and none of these things are helpful, and it just kind of would consistently take me out of a positive place. The man I wanted to be, or the man I thought I should be, or thinking how you should be doing things or what you should be doing, but then not executing those things leaves you in this kind of spiral of disappointment. But again, all that thinking is based on time. You're basing who you are and what you think you should be on who you'll be tomorrow and who you were yesterday. And so for me, the most effective tool I've adopted is just trying to stay present when you're in the moment, it's not like you've satisfied the part of your brain that thinks in terms of time. It's that the part of your brain that thinks in terms of time just gets quiet. It kind of doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of my old hurdles have kind of become far more manageable by just staying present. All you really have in life, I think, is just now, a series of nows. And I think when you can kind of surrender to that, you can't lose. So for me, getting through the struggles that are associated with day-to-day life, it's just be present. Don't think about tomorrow. Don't think about the next minute. Just where are you right now? Don't miss right now. Be here now. And a nice sense of calm just kind of washes over you.
You said that there's a search to be in the moment. Mm-hmm. Does that only apply to acting?
It's everything that reality looks and feels and smells and sounds like, but you know it's not. And you're completely in control of that unfolding. And that's the time where I really feel the most present. And I think that's part of my addiction to acting, because I struggle to find that in life. It's a bit harder when there's no script and this is just happening in a chaotic form. But the hunt for the moment, the hunt to be present, that's the goal. I mean, acting is like a temporary artificial substitute it's like a drug. It's great. My goal in life is to find that, to be present like that in life. It's hard.
I started to worry that no matter what happened or where I went in my life, will that always be that way? What's preventing me from being truly happy or truly peaceful or present? What is the thing that's creating this conflict? And you start to realize a lot of it, when you take, it's not those individual things, well, that girl didn't like me, or, well, that guy's smarter than me. That's not it. It's the part of your brain that is driving this machine, the I, that ego. It's a very self-serving animal, and it lives in a world of comparison.
Because I do struggle I get anxiety about certain things and press and things like that. And it's, all those things were tied into the Marvel responsibilities. And it kind of started to shift on me. It started to feel like maybe the thing you're most scared of is exactly what you should do. Maybe this is actually what you should push yourself into. And it just started to make sense to me that way. And I said, let's go for it. And, it was a bumpy acclimation. It was certainly a nerve-wracking first couple weeks of shooting as to whether or not I made the right choice. But in retrospect, it certainly was.
Just being able to do something that I love. I love being creative. I love the business that I'm in. It's absolutely who I was as a child. You try and always think, well, what did you do on a Sunday morning when you were a kid? What were you doing when you weren't doing it for anything? When you were just waking up trying to have fun? What were you doing? That's what you should probably be doing with your life. And luckily, I was, putting on shows and doing theater and playing pretend. So I'm very lucky in the sense that my profession is also something that is deeply connected to the part of my life when my brain wasn't so noisy and I wasn't fueled by ego or an accomplishment or this kind of story that we're trying to tell ourselves. I was just doing it because it felt fun. So for me, it's inspiring, it's exciting, it's fulfilling to know that I get to go to work every day and get paid to do something that I consider to be extremely pure and real and beautiful. I'm scared of stuff, and that's okay. I'm scared that I won't get where I think I want to get. I'm scared that I won't know true happiness. I'm scared that I won't know, true beauty or love or, but I'm okay having those fears, but I also know at the same time that those aren't real fears. I really, really believe that's the ego talking, and that's okay because my ego has been trained to speak for 34 years. I can't expect to all of a sudden delete it from the map today. All I got to do is when those fears come up, recognize that those are ego-based fears. I'm totally okay with those things popping up on the radar because they're gonna, and that's okay too. So I guess I had plenty of fears, but I don't think any of them are real. So I think the thing that I'm looking for in life is just longer periods of blooming presence. Just kind of, on a daily basis, my brain is still noisy. It's still, it still is fear-based and still egoically fueled, I suppose. But like I said, I'm working on shining a light on that ego when you see it arise, and then hopefully letting it melt away. And hopefully the older I get and the better I get practicing that technique, there'll be less and less and less brain noise and more moments of presence, where ultimately maybe I won't have to focus on it so much to achieve it. Hopefully that will kind of become the neutral state. There's a great quote I read, you need the boat to cross the river, but once you cross the river, you don't need the boat. So I needed my, confusion and my ego and my struggle to wake me up to the fact that I don't need it. And I think the part of my brain that wanted all those answers in India was the part of my brain that he was telling me just to be quiet with. Just be quiet. Shh. Just be present. And if you really be quiet, like I said, it's not like the part of your brain that wants the questions gets an answer. It's that the part of your brain that wants the question just kind of dissipates. There's no more need for an answer because there was really no need for a question. So for me, it's just, very noisy brain. That's not quitting. That's not giving up. That's not forfeiting. It's surrendering, which I like to. It's, when you use the word surrender, you remember that there was a fight going on. There was a fight in my brain, an unnecessary battle that I'm fighting with myself. So just kind of surrender a little bit, and you'll have a flash of something real nice, and then your brain will quickly try and understand it, and it'll never be able to, and it'll be this horrible cycle, but you'll feel it and you'll want it again.